but it's been a long time now. But since some rule changes went in to, allow more freedom of movement and take away a lot of the hand checking on the perimeter and a lot of the hold and grab so guys can move. I mean, I think the league made a decision that's been very good for the league to allow more freedom of movement and everything else. I mean, there may be a handful of the old guard who just, likes the hand-to-hand combat and likes watching that game. But I think in general, 99.5% of people who watch NBA basketball would say it's a better product now. But it's interesting is that while they limited the contact so much on the perimeter, if anything, they just let them beat the crap out of each other inside, and they don't call anything. And I don't know if that's a, conscious decision by the league of just we want to do everything we can to get rid of post-up play and we want everything on the perimeter, or what it is. But there certainly hasn't been a change toward less contact in the post. I mean, and the bigger the guy, especially the stronger the guy, just the more they let everybody get away with. I mean, my complaint with it is, if I'm facing a quickness advantage on the perimeter, you don't give me the benefit of the doubt and let me hold on more and push and shove more. But if I'm giving away size on the inside, you let me get away with more. Boban deserves to have the game called exactly the same for him as you would for Henry Ellenson post. But that's not what I see happen.
With Shaq, obviously, he was going to play. With Boban, does it get to a point where you say, well, you're not going to give him the call, so I'm not going to go there anyway?
I mean, not really. No, but it is unfortunate. It's unfortunate for us, but it's unfortunate for him. I mean, he deserves a right to play by the same rules as everybody else. I mean, he comes out of games. I mean, John can tell you, he comes out of games. He's scratched up. And, I mean,
the play where they yanked his jersey
I
off.
mean, it's just, he comes out of games. The guy's like beat up.
The end of the Phoenix game, I mean, it was a blowout, so maybe that had something to do with it. But the end, they had Chris on him, giving away about 8 inches, but he was just two-handing him.
No. I mean, Al tried to push him as hard as he could the other night, and he was able to move him back a little bit on that jump hook. I mean, it's the way it is. It's unfortunate, but it's the way they've decided they're gonna call it.
One thing about Boban, you talked about it, how maybe the league has maybe consciously or unconsciously penalizing post play. Is that one of the reasons why post play may have become so inefficient over the years? They've allowed people to just beat on crap and just go down there, someone's knocking on you and pushing on you.
I think so. Well, two things. I think when the rules changed, and now, the defensive rules changed, so those guys have a lot less room down there. It's one of the things that I always, laugh about when some of the guys who played in the old rules talk about, these guys don't have a post game. Yeah, well, in the era you played, everybody had to stand above the free throw line or go down and hard double. When I first came in the league, so, that's over 20 years ago. You lifted everybody up over here, and you either had to come all the way on a double, which that's not a hard decision. Now, guys are in there, they're yo-yoing back and forth. They're not committing all the way, but they're halfway down. Post play is a hell of a lot harder than it was when I first came in the league. And so I sort of laugh when the old-time guys talk about how people have lost the skills. Go back to the old rules, and you see guys going down on the block and dominant.
No Jokic.
Yeah, so what happened? Well, they struggled a little bit, when he first went out, as you would expect. I mean, he's such a great player. But the last few games, they've been really, really good. And they've always been a good running team, but they're playing even faster now. And their perimeter guys, who are all good players anyway. I mean, they got 5 really good perimeter players with Murray, Harris, Barton, Moutier, and Beasley. And now they've got a lot more freedom to play. And so they're playing fast. And then Plumlee and Fareed are probably, for one team, the 2 fastest rollers in the league, getting behind your defense, and absolute monsters on the offensive board. So they've been playing really well. It was a really good game in Indiana the other night. They blew out Orlando. I mean, it's a good team. They figured it out, and the perimeter guys are all getting more opportunities, and those big guys are at the rim all the time. So significant challenge. They're the number 7 offensive team in the league. second in fast break points. I mean, this is really a good team.
What were your impressions of Trey Lyles?
Yeah, well, I think, I mean, I think that, like a lot of guys with the league changing and stuff, I think some people were looking at him as a small forward and the whole thing, and I think, they've made the decision that he's a 4. And he's played very well, a little up and down. I mean, he had a bad game in Orlando. He didn't make a hoop. He hit 5 threes the other night. Had 25. But I just think he's a real solid, steady player. Like, even when he has a bad game, you just don't see him, like, making a lot of mistakes. He's pretty solid defensively. He's in the right position. He can make shots. He makes the right play. He's a good player. Good player.
You mentioned that the other day that Dre might have been a little frustrated by only getting those 5 shot attempts. Is that something that you or one of the coaches kind of charts or keeps an eye on?
Well, it's not a matter of that because we're not really going to run things differently. I think it's more a matter of, as I told him, I think that, part of it's him. I mean, I think in a lot of those games where shot attempts are down that, he's not playing with as high an energy level, so he's not behind the defense as much. He's not offensive rebounding as much, and all of that. So part of it's him, and part of it's us. I mean, I think when he gets sealed up down there deep in the paint, he and Boban both, we're missing them a lot of times. We are not finding them, and so it's a little bit of both. We addressed that today, but it's something going forward. I think that we have to be on a little bit more. With our offense is to look for not only him on the lobs, but when he's sealed up in the paint deep, we've got to get him the ball, and it hasn't been something that we have emphasized since training camp, and we've had a lot of slippage in this stretch with our offense, not as much practice time, whatever, and that's one of the things we've had slippage on, and we're going to try to get back.
Is that a case where you might call more high screen and roll when you know that?
Yeah, but even there, I mean, it's got to be you either have him on the lob or when you throw the ball out, then the next pass got to go to him.
Right.
So,
I don't know the numbers for this. Have you noticed a difference though when he's playing with Ish and Reggie in terms of?
Well, he hasn't played with Ish much. A little bit because he plays with everybody. But no, there isn't. I mean, we have looked at all of that stuff, so no, there's not a difference. He tends to get more out of Reggie, playing with Reggie, because Reggie draws more help on the pick and roll. Ish they go under on, and they don't take a body off of him as much. I mean, one of the problems the other night, quite honestly, is, that they just decided they were going to get back to him all the time. And so, I mean, you saw it. Our guys had shots. I mean, Reggie had shots right down there in the paint. I mean, it was a pick your poison thing, and they decided to let our guys shoot 4-foot runners, 6-foot shots right at them. We couldn't get the ball in the basket. I mean, so it was frustrating.
Get everybody available besides John.
Yeah, Avery was not here this morning. He's a little sick, but he does plan on playing tonight. So Eric Moreland was here, but also not feeling great. They're sending him to the doctor right now. So something going around,
It's been a little more than a week since John had the injection. Is everything on course or too early to tell?
Well, it's too early to tell because they're not even going to think of start ramping him up until the 2-week mark.
Okay.
So, yeah, so it really doesn't even feel any different to him or anything, and it won't. So it's until we get to the point where they start having to do more activity, we won't have any idea. So he's just around getting treatment.